Who were the ancient Ethiopians? According to ancient Greeks, Ethiopians were blameless, the tallest and handsomest men. They were the first humans and the first to worship the gods. The gods were so pleased by their piety that they never let them be conquered by foreign nations. They even said that Egyptians were Ethiopian colonists led by King Osiris. Most people believe that it's about this Ethiopia. This is how Greeks portrayed those Ethiopians. Nothing to do with these Ethiopians. Ethiopia means burnt faces. It designated all black Africans living directly south and west of Egypt. Modern Ethiopia was then known as Axum. When invaded, Egyptians fled to ancient Ethiopia, which is Nubia or Kush. There, they regrouped with their fellow Africans to fight back. No foreign nation had ever conquered the Black Coalition, until King Azana of Axum, who joined forces with Romans in Egypt, attacked them, creating two fronts. Ethiopia fell, and Azana proclaimed himself King of Ethiopia. That's how Axum usurped that identity, and became known as Ethiopia. Subscribe and activate the bell.
It's thought that the kingdom of Axum was a continuation of a civilization which had existed nearby. That's where I'm headed now. Just 20 miles away is the town of YALL. It could be the Old Testament world I've been looking for. In this ancient town is a pre-Christian temple. There were worshippers here when the Old Testament prophets were writing. Over here, there would have been an altar. And it's quite a deep well beneath the altar because there would have been ritual sacrifice here. This would have been a place in which the blood would have been allowed to drain. An important part of Old Testament Judaism was making offerings in the form of slaughtered sheep and goats. And this may well have been a bath where people would have come to cleanse themselves. I mean, this building suggests all sorts of things. Not much is known about the people who built this temple, but archaeologists believe this is the oldest surviving building in Ethiopia. And it predates everything that we've seen up until now.
It was signed in Isaiah's phrase, the remnants of Israel.
Falasha origins are shrouded in mystery. No one knows how Jews first got to Ethiopia. Some say that Israelites fled to Africa after the destruction of the first temple in 587 BC. Others believe that their ancestors were Egyptian or Yemenite Jews. Whatever their origin, Jews have lived in Ethiopia for over 2 millennia. They practice a literal, pre-Talmudic Judaism, strictly observing the laws of Deuteronomy, including circumcision, the Sabbath, holidays, and dietary laws. For over 1,000 years, they ruled most of Ethiopia, preserving their independence longer than the ancient kingdoms of Israel. Their golden age came to an end. In the 17th century, they were defeated by Christians and given a choice, to convert or forever be Falasha, exiles. The Jews resisted. Many were killed. Others were forcibly converted. All lost their land. For centuries, they lived as tenant farmers, maligned as evil eyes, and restricted to outcast occupations such as metalworking. The isolated Falashas believed they were the last remaining Jews on earth. This archival film was shot by American author Meyer Levin during the reign of Haile Selassie, Lion of Judah, King of Kings, who ruled over feudal Ethiopia for 49 years. Selassie did not change their second-class status. They were, however, free to practice their religion. Each village had its own synagogue.
The Kesses are the Ethiopian Jewish holy men. They take the responsibility for preserving and transmitting the law and traditions of the people from generation to generation. When the famous Jewish scholar Halevi made his epic journey to Ethiopia in the 1860s, he was astounded to find that the Ethiopian Jews had maintained the Jewish lunar calendar precisely throughout the centuries, and that their religious observances coincided exactly with the religious holidays held by Jews around the world. In fact, he discovered an ancient Jewish people strictly observing the tenets of the Torah, the bedrock of the Jewish faith. The people prayed in Ge'ez, an ancient Semitic language now almost extinct, and today only used in religious services. In this rare film clip, the Kesses are leading the people in the observance of the Seged, a Jewish Ethiopian holiday that commemorates the works of Ezra, the scribe priest who read the law to the Jews after the end of the first exile. Ezra admonished the Jews to obey and understand the laws of Moses faithfully. Ethiopian Jews believe that angels accompany man into the hereafter. The angel of light records man's good deeds, the angel of darkness, his bad ones. The Ethiopian Jews highly revere Moses and have developed their own remarkable liturgical work called The Death of Moses, which is read during funeral services. The greatest bond between God and man in Ethiopian Jewish thought is the Sabbath. Its observance is considered the delineation between good and evil, between heaven and hell.
The Vatican is hiding something. Ancient Hebrew manuscripts that prove black Hebrews existed before European Christianity. Let me explain. Ethiopian Jews, known as Beta Israel, preserved Hebrew scrolls for thousands of years. These weren't copies. These were original ancient texts passed down generation after generation. They documented black Hebrew communities, religious practices, and lineage that predated European contact with Africa. In the 1800s, European missionaries arrived in Ethiopia during colonization. They saw these scrolls and confiscated them, claimed they were taking them for preservation and study. The manuscripts disappeared disappeared into European archives. Here's where it gets suspicious. The Vatican allegedly has these scrolls locked away in their secret archives. Researchers have requested access for decades. The Vatican refuses, won't confirm or deny they even have them. Why? Because these scrolls would prove that black Hebrew communities existed long before white Europeans claimed biblical authority. It would destroy the narrative that Judaism and Christianity are European religions. It would prove that the original Hebrews were African. Beta Israel families have been demanding the return of their ancestral texts for over a century. The Vatican stays silent. That broke me, because they'll display stolen Egyptian artifacts in museums, but won't release Hebrew scrolls that prove black biblical heritage. Tell me in the comments, what else is the Vatican hiding? Follow Iconic Facts.